this is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the head of the IBox Gym, top trainer, Alan Smith, just saying goodbye to one of his many employees who apparently bullies him as well. How you doing, Al?
Yeah, good. So there's this meeting's being recorded. How do you get rid of that?
I have no idea, but it is definitely being recorded. So don't say anything you're going to regret.
I can't see you, so that's fine. That's okay.
That's a bonus.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You're not that pretty.
I can see the light shining off your head. I mean, mate, I always thought you were an angel, and now we know.
Yeah.
For
sure. I shine that hair to get it that good. So there you go.
Well, you are a cleaning company boss, aren't you? So.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Great win, latest great win at the weekend. This one for Dennis McCann. Just completely dominant performance against, on paper, one of his best opponents so far, James Beach Jr. Did you expect it to be quite as, I don't want to say easy, because I'm sure he was working very hard in there, but quite as one-sided as it turned out to be?
Yeah, do you know what? Dennis had performed in the gym outstanding, and he promised me he was going to stop James. And, James is one of the nicest kids I've ever come across. I sat with him prior to the weigh-in and had a chat with him. I seem to get along with everyone's opponents because, it is boxing, it is a sport. And afterwards we spoke to him, he came to the change room. I found him with such a nice young man. And, I felt a little bit sorry for him. But Dennis was hell-bent and said, I will definitely stop him. So I did have that in our mind. And I said to Dennis, let's make a quiet entrance and a noisy exit. But as you well know, Dennis can't make anything quiet. But, yeah, Dennis was incredible in the build-up to it in sparring. He'd paid a lot of sparring. We had Jason Cunningham, which is incredible experience for Den. Young Baluta, Masood. We had a couple of kids coming from Italy. So we'd had a great preparation for that.
Shabazz Masood and Dennis is pretty cool sparring, similar, not similar styles necessarily, but both very tricky, both very slick. Yeah,
100%. We tried to replicate of even getting a southpaw and even a southpaw because we kept thinking to ourselves, if the opponent pulls out, we want to be prepared just in case you get a substitute.
Could it be hard to match Dennis?
No, I don't think so. I think it's people are at the bit to try and get to him, really, because he's such a good name. But he is only 21. And you can call him out as much as you like. It's not going to make no difference because I agreed to fight. So he's still 21, he's still got a lot of learning to do. So you can goad him all you like. It won't get past me.
What did you think about him at featherweight? I know as it turned out, he wasn't miles above the super bantam limit, but what did you think about him, kind of growing into that weight class? Is he there to stay?
No, I don't think so. I think he'll grow into a featherweight. The problem was with Dennis the last couple of fights. He always trains hard. There was nothing wrong with his preparation his last two fights. He'd had a friend die. His young wife had become pregnant. They had a couple of little problems. So he hadn't as focused on his food as he should have been, and he made mistakes. There was nothing wrong in preparation. This time he got it correct. He knows where it's got to be. So we took a featherweight title, which was vacant, at a catch weight of 8 stone 12. Dennis weighed 8 stone 11, 3 ounces, and was not dry. So he can make super bantamweight. But he is growing. It's a packed division at super bantamweight. It's very, very difficult. Not saying for me, I think he's top of the tree there as well, alongside some of the others. But let's just let him grow into weight. Let's let him learn. He's got another 12 months of maybe making some more progress fights before he fulfills where he should be. I know being a British champion is fantastic, and you've got Liam Davis as a great champion. But at the moment, Dennis is learning. We're picking fights that he's developing at a stage that he should be.
So when's baby McCann due then?
I've got baby McCann already. I think October. I think his baby's due. So I don't know who's going to baby the baby, but
it's going to be interesting. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of pure talent, pure ability, where does he rank with some of the fighters you've looked after over the years at a similar stage?
At this stage, I think he's probably in front of him. Danny Hunt was probably one of the most outstanding young men I'd ever trained. He was gifted. Dan was quite young when he turned pro at 18 and had bad skin. But I think Dennis McCann is naturally one of the his IQ is second to none. In the fight, he always asks for advice, but he works it out himself. He knew when to step on the gas. I think in the middle rounds, he may have tried something different, and Cole Frampton made a comment, and I think Den was trying something different, and I reverted him back to just waiting and being a bit more patient. But I think his IQ is probably one of the best I've ever seen. He'll work a puzzle out, you know. I tell him that, you know, I'll just tell him off if he's doing something wrong. But he's so clever. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He predicted he would stop him and what he'd stop him with, and he wasn't far wrong.
What does he still need to improve on? Is it more just the physical side, so growing into himself a bit more, getting that kind of inside work a little bit as well?
I don't even think that. I think that his style is long to mid-range. He likes to get close. But if you look at Andre Ward, he's able to tie you up and hit you on the inside. I think the first round, Den and young James come close together and he chipped away at the body, and he was pulled away from that. I just think he needs to develop in his physicality, in his boxing, and you only do that from experience. If you look at all of the old-time fighters, Del Hoya and Canelo and all of them, they've had 50, 60 fights, or Chavez, I think, had 57 fights or near enough that thing where the world title shot. The problem is, saving on electric, haven't paid the bill. The problem is that everyone tries to get there too soon, and I don't think anyone should rush.
There's been a lot of comparisons, maybe not so much recently, but when he first started out, people got to look at him with him and Nassim Hamid. I don't know how you feel about that. Do you see similarities?
No, I don't think so. I think Dennis is like when you watch Nad's box, he was incredible. I remember watching him in the gym before, firsthand. He was a serial puncher. But if you watch Dennis, he's become a little bit more orchestrated in his movement, and before as an amateur he would jump over that screw shot and all that. He's now very calculated in what he does, and he's found his own style rather than try and mimic a bit. He's Dennis McCann, and hopefully when he finishes, people can try and replicate him. He likes to watch a little bit of Valerio, and then he'll watch Ray Vargas, and and he just adds to it. But he's got his own style, he's his own person.
What's he like at the gym as a personality?
No, he's the biggest. He's the only diva in the gym. We got a girl in the gym, Sky Nicholson, and when she joined, I said, "There's only one diva. It's Dennis McCann." But no, look, Dennis McCann is literally. I have a great relationship with him. He's an incredible person to be around. He can drive me mad, but he's gone away this week, and I'll probably miss him a little bit. And I didn't think I'd say that because you're in the gym with someone 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're always going to pick up, And he's an opinionated young man, but we get on really, really well. But he's great fun, He's full of energy, and it's like he's just a young man full of energy, Yeah, he's good fun, and I've got a great relationship with him, so it makes it easier to train.
What's the one thing you can almost guarantee you'll bicker about, you two?
Who gets the Haribos? No, probably him wanting to do too much. So I'll pull the plug. That's it, done. Finish the bag. Only do this amount of sparring, and he'll want to do more. So if we bicker, it will be me holding him back. Nothing else. Not the other way around.
Not him holding you back.
No. Listen, if he's late, he'll apologise. He'll text me, I'm 5 minutes late. The respect there is incredible. Please and thank you. You couldn't ask anything more from a young man. Good
stuff. Now, another young man with his head on his shoulders is Kevin Ajako, of course. He's recently made his debut down at 154, something you've been wanting him to do for quite some time. How pleased were you with his performance against Lucas Machek?
Oh, he boxed incredible, really, really good. He boxed really, really well. But I don't want to touch on Kevin for a little while, if we could just move along from CJ.
Okay, that's fair enough.
He boxed incredible. I was very proud of him. He boxed probably one of the best I'd seen him, but we'll move along from CJ.
Fair enough. Let's move along swiftly to Sam Noakes, who is still unbeaten, of course, doing very well, explosive puncher. When are we likely to see him back out?
So he hurt his hand in sparring Archie Sharp. So I'm thinking about October, he'll be there. Ready. He's back in the gym, he's hitting the bag and everything. So, Sam's another real hard-working pro. He's literally a fully grown man. He's 23, but he is physically like cut out of stone. So he only had a small time on that small operation on his knuckle. He just fractured it a little bit. And back in the gym punching away.
Is it a similar challenge with him as it is with Dennis? Because a lot of people are calling for him to be matched a certain way. I know the Mark Chamberlain fight's been talked about a lot. And you want to develop him at your own pace?
Yeah, I think so. I think, he's a big ticket seller. He's a good looking boy. He's very marketable. He's a puncher. But again, he's had 9 fights. It's an old saying, 20 for learning and 20 for earning. Francis Warren manages him, and, we're not going to rush him. Him and Mark Chamberlain's a great fight, but it is down the line. Both of them have got to stay undefeated. And both of them on the same parallel to where to go. But there's also other kids in the division that are really good. The British champion is a tough one, at the moment now. And, both of them are not ready for that yet.
And Henry Turner, similar story there?
I think Henry's outstanding. I think he's probably one of the most skillful ones you've ever seen. But he's a little bit behind now. He's just maturity-wise. I mean, boxing, but he doesn't lose a second of a round. Not a round, a second of a round. I think Henry Turner will develop into maybe past some of the others in the gym. It's just going to take a little bit longer. He's probably like Gary Walkham that had a few more 6-rounders than the rest of them. But if you're watching box, he's getting better and better each time. He's developing his style. He's very pretty to watch. He's very unique. He's got a very nice, very, very good style, very pleasing on the eye style. He doesn't do a foot wrong for me, Henry.
And as you alluded to earlier, you've got a female boxer in the gym now in Sky Nicholson. I'm aware Eddie Lamb kind of takes the lead where she's concerned.
Yeah.
But what's it like having a female boxer in the gym? Is it the first time?
It's the first time, yeah, definitely. Because when I was an amateur trainer, there was no girls in the gym, And to be fair, is that she contacted me direct, and then I met her in Liverpool when I was with Kevin Ajago boxing, and she drove me mad and said, "I want to train at the gym." And we spoke. And we had a couple of chats and everything, and the manager brought her down, and then I said no to her, and then she texted me and she drove me mad, and before I knew it, she'd moved to Bromley. But, I'm obviously busy because of a company, I go to work, and then I've got all of the boys in the gym, and Eddie Lamb's a gentleman. So he was the perfect person to take the leading role. But to be fair, she's the least ag in the gym by far. She's the easiest one to train.
What made you turn down the opportunity to work with her the first time?
I'm probably a little bit stubborn and a little bit old fashioned, and she's proved me wrong that, she's thingy, that she's very, very gifted, and she's a very, very nice girl. She doesn't cause any problems, nothing. But I've got 11 or 10 fighters in the gym, roughly about there, to squeeze another one in, and she's boxing abroad every other fight. So I have quite a large company. I go to work till late afternoon and go to the gym from 3 to 8 at night. So I probably couldn't have gone away as much as I could, because she's boxing away 4 fights. She's boxing away 3 times, and it's hard because missing Eddie at the gym, who's my 50% of the gym, losing him for a couple of weeks is difficult, and I just physically couldn't do it and leave the rest of them. But that's the only reason. But I still help out. I'm a big advisor for her in her technical side, and it works well for us.
And it's very much the new crop in the gym now. Bradley Skeet, Johnny Garton, all did great things. Sam Webb. But they're kind of gone into their retirement, all doing really well. And now you've got this new crop. Are you enjoying it as much as you have in the past? Yeah,
do you know what? It's changed. Boxing's a change. I've changed. My style changed slightly as a coach as you go along and become a little bit more different. Brad, I spoke to Brad last night, funny enough, and I think we're meeting up the weekend. So, that was all very, very, it was a smaller team, but we were very, very close. We did everything together. Ricky Boylan, Gary Walkham, Sam Webb, all of us, all the way through. This lot are a little bit different. But, yeah, I'm enjoying it. They're younger, they're a little bit different. They've all come together, and they're all as gifted as the last lot, but they're all together. So it seems like a stronger team. They're not as a unit before, because there's more of them. Before, when they all box, we'd all go to the ring together, same like Joe Gallagher's lot did. It's a little bit different now, and they've all got different characters and different ways. But yeah, it's a great team to have. I'm very, very appreciative that they've joined our stable. at the IBox Queensbury and chose us for their training. So we're over the moon that we've been chosen.
We were talking about this in the gym this morning, me and one of my friends, is that you've always been quite keen for your fighters to get out of the game at the right time, but also to have something set up for them beforehand. You've given a lot of your fighters jobs in your company when they've struggled for money or sponsorship. And then you've always been the first one to tell them when it's maybe time to pack it in. Not every trainer is as compassionate as that. Where does that come from?
I boxed for the same amateur club that I become a trainer for. And one of my first ever amateur fighters was Gary Walker back in the early 90s. So I'd had him from 11 till he was 28. And I think I'm lucky enough that I have a company that I go to work and we're quite successful. So money's not the biggest thing for me. And I just think as a person and for my moral compass is it to look after them. You know, if somebody entrusted you their child, all of them are young men. They've all got mums and dads, mostly. So you've been given someone's health, someone's life to look after, and important that they finish this game as healthy as they can with as much money. I just think it's my moral compass, Eddie Lamb's and the other trainers in the gym. That's that's what we think is most important. And Johnny Garton, we retired, I think, started last year. He came to the gym with his bag, dropped his bag down. I said, "Oh, John, you're retired." He had a bit of yum, moaned and groaned, but he realised that he'd well overachieved. He'd been our biggest and most pleasurable success story from where he come from. But, he's got 2 children. He's getting married next month. We're going to his wedding. And I think that's where our strengths lie.
Oh, great stuff. Al, really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. And we should do this a bit more often, maybe.
Yeah, cheers. I never get invited. It's normally Adam Booth.
Yeah, he said no. He said no today.
Did he?
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I'm going to ring it.
I'll show you my messages later. I am joking. But yeah, really good to have you on. And yeah, we should do it more often. So I'll take that on me. I'll make sure I do it. Yeah,
I'd like to say though, the gym is buzzing at the moment. The gym is thriving, but it's not just down to me. It's down to, Eddie Lamb, who's been the 50% of the gym, Paul Taylor, Ian Weaver's just joined as a coach to help us out, and the support of everyone around us as well. There's family to help out. You got a home, you got a wife, you got everything else. So it takes a lot of a people, not just one trainer that's the head trainer in the corner. It's the whole team. There's a lot to do.
Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you've given them all their credit in case they watch.
Yeah, they won't watch.
No, all right, fair enough. We could do with the views. No, I'm joking. Well, all right, really appreciate it, mate. And let's speak soon.
Cheers, Dan. Thank you.